guys, I want you to remember that cooking can be so much fun, but also it can be dangerous. And so you want to make sure before you start using anything in the kitchen or turning anything on that you have permission from a parent or a guardian. If you're using any sharp utensils or using the stove, be sure that your parent is watching you and with you so that you are not putting you or anybody else in danger. Hey you guys, you are watching Cooking with Capernaum. I am so happy to get to cook with you today. Today we're making macaroni and cheese, and you might be making it from a box like this that comes in the frozen section that you're going to stick in the microwave and cook, and that is awesome. Or you might be cooking it out of a box that looks something like this. So before I get started, I always like to wash my hands. I already did that and dried them, but if you haven't washed your hands, go ahead and do that. And then I like to get out everything I'm going to need to cook. And the way that I find out what I'm going to need is by looking at the directions on the back of the box. So with the recipe that's on the back of this box, it tells me I'm going to boil water. So that means I need a pot to boil water in. I need a measuring cup to measure out how much water I'm going to need. It says I'm going to drain the pasta, so I have a strainer so that I can drain it. And then eventually I'm going to add some milk and butter, so I have both of those things out. I like to put pepperoni in my macaroni and cheese. Maybe you like to put pepperoni in your mac and cheese. Maybe you're one of those people who likes to put slices of hot dogs in your macaroni and cheese, or maybe you don't like to put anything in your macaroni and cheese. That's awesome. I have two different kinds of pepperoni. I have it on a stick and also have it where it's already been sliced. So if you're adding something like that, you have a couple of different options. Again, if you're making it from frozen, you really are not going to need any of these things except for maybe the pepperoni if you are going to add pepperoni later. So let's get started. The recipe on the back of the box, that's what you are going to use because you might not have the same box as me. And so you are going to look and see what it says. The first thing in my ingredients, there's a little number 1 next to it. It says to boil 6 cups of water in a medium saucepan. So that means that I need to measure out 6 cups of water. This measuring cup has little lines on it. And here, if you get closer, you can see that there's a big 1 at the top. So I'm going to fill up this little measuring cup up to the 1 6 times. So let me do that real quick. Six. So I have my 6 cups of water in my pot. So I'm going to bring this over to the stove. You could have even filled up the water while your pot was already on the stove and still off. That might have been an even easier way to put water in your pot. And then I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to wait for it to bubble up so that I know that it is boiling. After I do that, it says that I'm going to add in pasta. So you have to wait until it boils until we can do the next step. And so we're going to talk about the frozen macaroni while we're waiting for our water to boil. On the back of this frozen macaroni, it has directions, just like this box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things it says to do. The first thing it says is before cooking, lift the corner of the lid to vent. Do not fully remove the lid. So what that means is there's a little sign if you get closer here that says open here, and I'm going to pull that open and just lift the corner. That's it, not the whole thing, just the corner. just like the directions said. Next, it says to microwave on high for 3 minutes. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to put it in, close it, click the 3, and then now we wait, just like we're waiting on the water to boil. This coming week and for the next few weeks, Capernaum is going to be reading this scripture and memorizing this scripture called Psalm 23. This is one of my favorite scriptures because it is about how God takes care of us. The writer of this chapter or this psalm wrote about God as if he was a shepherd. A shepherd is somebody who takes care of sheep. And so in this psalm, David, the writer of it, is saying that we are like sheep and God is like our shepherd and he takes great care of us. The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need. He lets me lie down in fields of green grass. He leads me beside quiet waters. He gives me new strength. He guides me in the right paths for the honor of his name. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid. You are with me. Your shepherd's rod and staff comfort me. You prepare a feast for me right in front of my enemies. You pour oil on my head. My cup runs over. I am sure that your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. And I will live in the house of the Lord forever. Guys, I want you to remember today while you're eating your macaroni and cheese that God is with you and he loves you. And even though this is such a strange time in our lives, we, your Young Life leaders, love you too. We want to spend time with you, but we want you to just know that more than anything, God is with you and he is not leaving your side during all of this. Guys, it looks like our macaroni is just finished. We're gonna pull it out. It says that the next thing we're gonna do is mix the pasta and the sauce together. So in order to do that, and guys, remember it just came out of the microwave, so it's pretty hot. So you might want a parent to help you get it out. You're gonna pull off the top all the way. And then you're gonna get something to mix it all together. I'm gonna use this cute little purple spoon. So I'm mixing it all together. All right, and the next thing it tells me to do on the side is to recover and to microwave on high. So that means I'm going to cover it again with this, and I'm gonna cook it for another minute. So I'm gonna put it back in. And let it cook for another minute. Now when it comes out, I'm gonna add some pepperoni to it, and maybe you want to do that too. And so I'm going to just take a couple of pieces. Maybe you have smaller pepperonis at home. I like my pepperonis to be a little bit smaller. Again, if you're using anything sharp, you're gonna need your parent to help you or ask permission from a parent before you do that. And I'm just going to cut these into pieces just like this so that I just have little tiny little triangles of pepperoni. And when it comes out, I'm gonna add it in just a couple of seconds. Looks like our water is almost to a boil, but not quite there yet. All right. Again, since this is hot, you're going to want to make sure that you ask somebody to help you so that you do not burn yourself. You could even use little pot holders or oven mitts so that you don't hurt yourself. So I'm going to mix this up again. I'm going to add my pepperoni and mix. Oops, awesome. Add some more pepperoni. And then I'm gonna let it sit and cool before I eat it because I do not want to burn my tongue. All right, friends, it looks like our water is finally boiling. So it says here that I'm going to put the noodles in and then I'm going to stir them. So again, this water is very hot. So be sure that you have a parent that can help you. I'm going to throw in these noodles. I'm going to stir them. And it says that they need to cook for 7 to 9 minutes. So I am going to set a timer for 7 minutes. All right, now all we have to do is wait. All right, guys, our timer stopped, and so I took our pasta and turned off the heat and took it off of the burner. And now I'm going to carry it over to drain it from the water. This pot might be very hot, and the water definitely is. And so you want to make sure that your hands are protected and that you have a parent to help you do this next step. So you're gonna carry it over or have a parent carry it over for you, and then you're gonna pour the pasta in and strain it. It's that easy. And I have a little bit left in here, so I'm gonna grab this wooden spoon and just get it all All right, looks like our pasta is strained. So I'm going to take it over here to the counter with all of my other ingredients and see what it says to do next. The next thing on the directions after draining the pasta is add milk and butter to the warm saucepan. So I'm going to pull my pan back out of here and then bring it over to the stove. It says I need 2 tablespoons of butter. So you can scoop it if you have a container of butter. This is what I have, and this is what's really cool is that on the side of the butter it tells you how much each little line is. So I'm going to find the 2. Make sure if you're using a sharp utensil that you get a parent to help you. And then I'm going to cut 2 tablespoons. I'm going to put it in the warm saucepan like the directions say. And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of milk. Guys, and you could use water if you didn't have milk. You could use almond milk if that's what you have. But I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of milk. The next thing it says to do is to put the cheese packet, to sprinkle that inside. And guys, remember, you might have a different box than I do, which means that you might have different directions. Your directions might say to add 1 tablespoon of milk. Your directions might say to add a ½ cup of milk and no butter. So you just want to be sure to check your directions to make sure that they match what you're doing, because you might have a different box of macaroni and cheese than I do. So I'm just going to mix this butter around because it hasn't quite melted yet. Still kind of waiting for it to melt. And then I'm going to sprinkle in the cheese, like it says, and mix it up. You're seeing this cheese fly everywhere. It says after I sprinkle in the cheese, I'm going to add the warm pasta back into the pot. And so I'm just going to grab it and then dump it back in, and then I'm going to mix it up. Until I want to make sure there aren't any clumps of powdered cheese. I want to make sure that the butter is completely melted that I added, and I'm going to keep mixing until both of those things happen. Okay, it looks like it's about done. It's looking really good. And just like I did with our other macaroni and cheese over here, I'm going to add some pepperoni to it. I'm actually going to use a different kind of pepperoni. I'm going to use this because I had this. And so again, if you are using a knife or anything sharp, you want to always make sure that you have permission from a parent and that they are watching you. And so I'm just going to cut, I just want a little bit of pepperoni added to this. So I'm just going to cut here, and then get this out of the package. Did you see that? And then I'm just going to cut little pieces of pepperoni. Again, make sure that you have permission to use any utensils in the kitchen before you use them, because we want to make sure that you are safe. And then I'm going to add the pepperoni. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to add the pepperoni to my macaroni and cheese. And then I'm going to mix it in. And that's it, you guys. It was so fun cooking with you today. Notice that there are 2 different types of ways that you could make this macaroni and cheese. And you might even have one of those cups that you can just add water or milk and put into the microwave. You're welcome to use any recipe that you want to use. The point is that we just want to spend time with you and do things with you, and this was a fun way that we could do that. So we had so much fun on cooking with Capernaum. And I'm going to pray for our meals before we eat, and then until next time, this is Cooking with Capernaum. Jesus, we love you. Thank you that you are with us. You give us everything that we need. Thank you for taking care of us. God bless this food as we eat, that it will nourish our bodies. We love you, and amen.